Independent variables versus dependent variables. This is really common. It's very common for folks to get a little bit confused about what an independent variable is versus a dependent variable. One of the more common things that I've heard over the years is people will say, well, the dependent variable is the one that we measure. Well, in reality, and according to a previous segment, all variables are things that we measure. We measure both independent variables and dependent variables. When it comes to distinguishing between independent variables and dependent variables, really what we need to make the distinction of which variable are we anticipating has some sort of effect or some sort of influence, and which variable do we think is or could be influenced. So which variable is doing the influencing, which variable is being influenced. So for example, if we were engaged in research or initiating a study that was designed to determine what effect cigarette smoking has on the common cold or the incidence of the common cold, as illustrated by this fancy handout or fancy slide, smoking would be our, any guesses? Smoking would be our IV, our independent variable, okay? Because we're anticipating whether or not somebody smokes will influence the common cold, our DV, or our independent variable. So in other words, another way of looking at this is whether you get a cold or not may depend on whether or not you smoke. If you smoke, you may or may not get more colds. Independent variable and dependent variable. We anticipate that the independent variable is the variable doing the influencing. In this example, whether you smoke or not influences, independent variable influences whether or not you get a common cold or the likelihood you'll get a common cold.